What's going on, everybody? Today is Thursday, August 29th, 2024. We are back to discuss the latest episode of the Challenge 40, Battle of the Eras. I'm excited. I feel like I'm already down for what the season has given us. I don't know about you guys. I can't wait to get into it. So let's just kick this sucker off, eh? My name is John Dunphy Judea. Of course, standing my Queen Mariah, who is not on season 40, but, you know, she should be. I'm joined, as always, by my ride or dies, Miss Gina Morgino, not standing anybody. I'm surprised you're not standing Josh right now. But
I
okay.
do that here, don't I?
And, of course...
There's no emotional attachment to the name at all.
I forgot.
Yeah. And, of course, Mr. Kyle Petty Basal standing, the incomparable... champion of Australian Survivor, Mr.
My
Ferris
dear
Basal.
friend.
Yeah, who is in a public feud with Gina.
My best friend, Ferris Basal.
And us three idiots are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod, except for at Blue Sky, because we do not find those skies to be blue. They're overcast. So...
although we really should go back there because, you know, Twitter has really become such a cesspool.
Yeah, Twitter sucks. Thanks, Elon.
It's terrible. It really is pretty bad. And we also should explore this Threads that the kids are talking about. Threads.
Do people actually? I've never used a social media site less than Threads in my life.
I was excited about Threads when it first came around because it felt like,
so
okay,
fast.
like it's not Twitter. So like, let me get on this. And then I like haven't looked at it for like, I don't even know how long it's been out. Yeah, a year or whatever. But yeah, so we're Strat Chat and we're here to talk about the challenge. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Well, so first of all, Kyle, you had some technical difficulties last week.
Oh yes.
Do you have any thoughts about the Era Invitational that we saw that you didn't get to share last time that you would like to this time?
I'll try to remember what I can remember because that also feels like a very long time ago. Paulie and Theo, what a shame. Really fun to see them have it out. I would have liked that later in the season. Never want to see Paulie go this soon. So that was a real bummer. Who else did we lose in that episode? We lost Brandon.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his challenge was. However.
He went against Ryan, I think, in the I forget what it's called now.
That cage thing.
Yeah.
The one that CT and Jay went head to head in. Still my least favorite challenge of elimination of all time. When Jay beat CT in that.
Disgusting. And this one, I didn't really want to see either of them go. So like there was no good end to this for me. And not just because I had them both on my team. Like I just genuinely liked them both. So like it was just unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Who else did we have?
We lost Kellyanne and Mark on John's team.
Yeah. Very sad.
I love Kellyanne.
I love Kellyanne, and she's just got such a great,
Yeah, so much for the fortune teller psychic that she has. Right, because she was supposed to last a lot longer than she did, said the psychic, who is no longer employed. And Mark went against Derek. That was another bummer. That didn't have a good end. Who did Kellyanne go against? Was it?
I think it was Cara.
Yeah,
it's Cara. Then that would have been another one with no good end.
Yeah,
but I think we're going to get that all season. I think every elimination is going to sting a little.
All these people are just such legends.
I like everybody. None of these eliminations is one that I'll really cheer for. Like this is a tough one.
Yeah.
I
will say that now 3 episodes in, our 3 teams, we all drafted 13 people.
Mm-hmm.
We have all lost 3.
We're even, yeah.
Wow, really?
So through 3 episodes, Gina has lost Nerese, Leroy, and Amanda. I have lost Kellyanne, Mark, and Jody. And
Jody.
Kyle has lost Paulie, Tony, and Brandon. So
Katie also went home. She was just undrafted. Sorry, Katie.
Yeah, sorry, Katie. Unwanted.
Oh my God!
Unwanted. Sorry about that, Katie.
Disrespectful.
I mean,
also,
nobody
for
wanted
me,
her. It's just
for me, it's also the font looks like one of those old school like
The
wanted,
posters.
$5,000
Yeah.
reward. This is unwanted. It's just an extra stingy. That's all.
Yeah, it's unwanted. Nobody's looking for you.
Ugh,
The thing is,
sorry,
like, I
dog.
actually like her. Like, this is no shade to her. Like, it's a shame because,
No,
like,
yeah,
I like all of these people.
I don't
Someone had to be unselected.
I don't dislike Katie. Like, there were 40 people in this cast. Whichever one
Oh
wasn't.
no, I'm not suggesting that you do. I just want
Oh
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to put some respect on her name.
Oh
That's all.
sure, sure.
I just
I mean,
didn't know her.
to be fair, out of the 40 people in this cast, whichever one ended up not being drafted was going to get that graphic. So it's not like a specific,
right.
slight towards Katie. It's just no one wanted you.
Yeah,
So
no,
you are the unwanted.
right. No, it's fair. I just want to just make that be said. It's not it's not really like Katie slander. That's all. Let the
Right,
record
right.
reflect.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's get into this episode. Obviously, we had our last purge, right? We had 8 eliminations, 8 people being sent home right off the bat. So we go from 40 to 32 real quick. And obviously, the players, as they left the elimination, felt a little fishy about things because TJ did not send the losers out of the arena first. He sent the players still in the game out of the arena first, leaving our losers still in the arena. And like, what does this mean? Are they going somewhere else and maybe they get to come back into the game or something like that? Or
That's what I hoped.
Yeah, like what's happening here? We do find out that it's really just they're going to be doing these karma votes. They can rate all the players that are still in the game 1 to 5, and apparently this is supposed to have some big impact on the game and who could potentially win it. We still don't really have a ton of information about this, though, right?
No.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, I guess I'm excited by the concept of it. We love a good twist, but I kind of wish if you're going to do a twist and you're going to do something like this for season 40, Battle of the Eras, like, can we get another Redemption House? Like, that would have been so much
Is that like
fun.
a battle back type situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, the people in the Redemption House would battle, and then they would battle to get in.
Gotcha.
So you had to just battle just, like, sometimes just to be eligible for the chance to do it. Like, there were, like, rounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was also like you got to see them in the fighting with each other, and like all this stuff. It's basically like Jury House with competitions.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a whole different show going on.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Yeah.
I do just want to take a second to throw this comment up from the Nullified Take.
What up?
Yeah, what's up, Nullified Take? Saying, hi, all. Keep up the good work with the recaps. If you are not a follower of the Nullified Take, you should be. They're a fantastic podcast.
Very legit.
Yeah.
We still need to collab. We talked about that like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're still down the clown.
Definitely. But yeah, I'm curious about these karma votes. I feel like this almost feels a little bit to me. Wasn't there a season recently where like players got stars? Maybe, I think it was one of the All-Star seasons, right? Where they got stars, and then like if you got eliminated, you could give your stars to someone else or whatever. Like, and this like almost feels like that to me. And I feel like that didn't have as big of an impact as like TJ made it out to be. So I'm curious if these karma votes will really play a big role or not really mean that much in the end. But we'll see.
We'll see. I actually do have some pretty high hopes for this because of, well, now that we know the format going forward, we'll get there in your time. But I have high hopes for it. I feel like this season is going to bring a lot of drama.
Oh, yeah. It's already so messy, even just from this episode alone.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Yes. We will message you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're down.
All right. Well, let's get into, I guess, really, there was not really much that happened, in the early portion of the episode, but let's get to Challenge Day. Because what did you think about this daily challenge? It was called Gladiator. Now these eras are not going to be fighting against each other. They're going to be working together. And this challenge in particular, they had to now run out into the water, get into these big dragon boats, do a full lap around this body of water, which seemed pretty big. They then would have to run onto the beach, eat all of this disgusting food, and then put a puzzle together with all 40 challenge logos and putting them in order. So pretty intense challenge. First, though, they did have to pick representatives for each era. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on the representatives, the people that volunteered? Would you have volunteered?
I would never volunteer.
Never, right? Here. I would never volunteer for this.
You have no idea what that's going to mean later.
Yeah.
So who were the representatives?
So the representatives for this were, let me see here. I'm sorry, hold on.
So you tried to fool us. That's what I wanted to uncover. Because he was like all like nonchalant. What did you think about the representatives? And it's like, I don't remember who they were. Who were they?
I do.
Because he tried to set us up. That's right. I tossed it back.
I assumed he was asking about the concept, not like
that's
the people.
That's what it was. Yeah, the concept of having these representatives.
I thought it was tact.
No,
like,
I had the representatives here. I just hoped that we would talk about the idea of it while I looked for the names of the people. So Era 1 chose Jody and Darrell. Yeah, mm-hmm. Jody and Darrell. Era 2 chose Derek and Aviv. I have the names here. I was hoping you'd throw me an assist, maybe. Era 3 selected Tony and Avery. Era 4 went with Casey and Kyland. So those were our representatives for everybody. Jeez, really throwing me off here.
Yes, I know. I thought you were trying to get at us. I was like, oh no.
I was just asking, what do you think about these representatives? Like, would you be a representative? Not who are they, and name all of them right this second.
Well, you see how that can be misconstrued, because you say, what do you think about these representatives? Like, well, which ones? So I thought you were trying to play us.
Well, now I'm saying these, but when I initially presented the question,
All right. Well, I mean, I think the concept's fun, and like you say, representatives, so you act like you don't know what this is, but just like everyone said, you're not new here. You know exactly what this is. You're basically the captain. But big ups to the people who volunteered. I think it's honest and cool. Good for them. I wouldn't do it, but
yeah, and I guess it's interesting too because
player.
I think the thing too that's interesting to me is like, depending on the era, the person that volunteered, like there's very different reasons why, right? Like I think that some people feel like maybe early on like this, they need to volunteer to show that they're not a pushover, especially in a season that's so full of like veterans, legends, that like, if you're not one of those, because let's be honest, like all these people I think they deserve to be here, but somebody like an Avery is not on the same level as a lot of these other players here. So seeing her step up, I think, is a big thing for her game, as long as it pays off, which it obviously did. But for somebody like a Darrell, would I have wanted to volunteer as the representative? Like, I don't think I would have wanted to do that. Like, I'm not even sure. I don't even remember exactly how Darrell got into that position, but like, if he just stepped up right away or not. But like, for him, I would have said, maybe that's not a smart move for you, but for an Avery, I'd say, yeah, good job.
Good roll of dice.
Yeah. Obviously, Era 3 killed this all the way through. It was the team with Jordan and Devin and that crew. But then we had Era 1, which performed absolutely awfully. They did so bad in this competition.
That boat just kept like going ashore. And it's like, can you imagine the yelling that must have gone on from being so far out in the river to now keep hitting the seashore? Like, that must have been like a nightmare to be in that boat.
Yeah.
My God.
Absolutely. Kyler is here. What's up, Kyler?
Kyler. Welcome
Kyler
back.
says, remember Gauntlet 1 was the captain in every time. It was the captain went in every time. That's how Derek got 5 elims in a row. He just took out his team. I would never choose to be the captain this early. Totally agree.
Never.
100%. But, okay. What did you think of these Vietnamese delicacies? Don't worry, Gina. I do not have a montage for you.
Thank God.
Listen, I would have had it. I just didn't have time to make it. Um, but any of these things look appetizing to you?
No.
Here's what was on the menu. We had snakes,
No.
rats, pig brains,
Rats with the teeth in it. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
I did.
Teeth.
I did.
coconut worms,
Oh, and they were alive.
duck embryo,
Mm.
boiled cow eyes. And there was some other gross stuff, some weird tofu, some gross drink that Tori described as tasting like a dead body.
Yeah, but the
or something.
vegan options, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That did not look at all. I would have just said I was vegan.
Durian is famously like a smelly, disgusting fruit.
I believe that, but I'm sorry. Anything liquid is automatically going to be very different than a solid. Like, just.
Oh, that's true for sure.
I think it was even Josh who had tweeted that was like, I was so excited to get down with like this eating challenge, and then I felt the worm like crawling back up.
Oh, we saw it. We saw it crawl back up.
Yeah,
and literally jump out of his mouth.
I do not like that at all.
I just love Tori complaining about this drink, and then like the next shot was her literally chugging it without spilling a single drop.
Kyle's having a hard time with the worm. He was having a hard time.
Yeah, the worm was rough.
It's really bad.
I don't think I saw that. I think maybe I was walking away. Maybe I made some.
Josh,
I made it a point not to watch because I had seen the tweet already. So I was like, I can't look when Josh is doing this because I don't want to see it.
The worm came back out.
So Josh put the worm in, closed his mouth to swallow it, and then the next shot was us watching us see Josh open his mouth and the worm jumping back out of his mouth.
It's so bad.
I think I would have. I probably would have just dropped dead. Like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? That they look like those things. I thought they were just something animated that came from the Lion King, like when like Timon and Pumbaa was showing Simba the grubs. Like, I thought that was just like a cartoon. Like when I saw this, it's like, oh my gosh, it looks like a grub.
Yeah.
My God, it's so disgusting.
It's so
I honestly cheered. I was cheering for the worm. Get to safety, buddy.
I don't like it.
When I was a young warthog.
Why do we do eating challenges? I don't like it.
Eating challenges are so good. What do you mean?
Those worms must be so like gooey.
I'm rooting for the worms.
We have to move on.
Yeah, please. Please talk about literally anything else.
So, the eyeballs too were crazy. Did you see
John,
those?
that's not what we meant.
I would definitely do the eyeballs over the worms.
Oh my God.
I mean, just on the fact that the eyeball is not alive, just on that alone, like, I mean, give me the rat at that point.
Yeah. Ugh. The rat probably tasted good.
I was going to say, if it wasn't for the fact that his head was on there, like if you told me like this is a pulled rat meat sandwich, I'm like, you know what? Sloppy Joe style. Let's see what's up.
Sloppy Joe style. I appreciate Kyler singing along with me in the comments. But okay, so let's move on. Era 3 won this challenge in very convincing fashion. Era 3 looks strong. Well, maybe not the brightest, no, with some of the decisions made towards the end of this here. But anyway, Era 3 wins, Era 1 loses, Era 4 and 2 kind of in the middle out there. So Era 3, this meant automatically that Tony and Avery are safe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or does it? Because things would happen later. So, but Era 1 coming in last place, that's meant that automatically their representatives, Darrell and Jody would be going straight to elimination. The representatives from Era 2 and Era 4, they'd have to plead their case with the Era 3 winners, Tony and Avery, to not be sent in. And those representatives would be, Derek and... Who was with Derek? Why am I blanking on this already? Derek and Aviv. and Casey and Kylan. They'd be the ones pleading their case. So we went to the chamber. We had our conversations. We couldn't come to an agreement. Avery, there was no way she was going to say Derek's name.
Mhm.
Tony, he like. I'm very interested to talk about the Tony situation because people were giving Tony shit, right, for not just saving Derek and Aviv, right, and instead like just throwing in Casey and Kylan. But I don't know how close Tony is to any of these people, and I feel like we didn't see Tony really do anything crazy here that we haven't seen before. He was approached by people like Josh. Let's work together. It seemed like he was being approached by people that wanted to work with him in the future. He didn't have the connections that Avery had to the people that other people didn't want to see go in. And so like, I feel like Tony was a little too hard headed and probably should have just like given in at the end of the day. But I also totally could see where he was coming from, where he's trying to build his own alliance here in the game. I don't know. Any thoughts from you guys? No.
No, I have many thoughts. I just wanted Gina to go first because so sure I'm going to be the dissenter. So I'm
Go
just
for it.
I just don't. I just think the editing did Tony a little bit of a disservice here. Everything was here about a male just domineering his place, and you're trying to force me into blah blah blah. He's not forcing you into anything that you weren't trying to force him into.
Yeah.
You're both just trying to do what's best for your game. And if you both are going to be as hard-headed as you were, then you both go in.
Right. It's not one more than the other that's causing the
Right.
problem.
And
Neither of them
that
will
is what
budge.
annoyed me about this. It's like just as easily as you're saying that he can change his mind, you can change yours.
Mm-hmm.
Because to John's point, like Tony has no relationships with like basically anyone. He's been very out of the challenge circle for like a long time. And when he left that circle, it's not like he had any great relationships to maintain. Like he's kind of always been a little bit on the outs ever since like he burned bananas that one time years ago. So because of that, if he sees a future with himself working with these people and Avery doesn't want to burn Derek because they have a good relationship, like how can you put one over the other? Like y'all are both hard-headed. You both could have folded. And like
Yeah, I also saw. I think it was Kylan too that said it at one point. Was like, listen, like Avery's going real hard for Derek, saying that she's willing to go into elimination, but like, why isn't Derek saying to Avery like, no, don't do that, just throw me in? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why? like it's kind of like this is all kind of a mess here, and I feel like Tony was the only one that got shown in a bad light
Mm-hmm.
for making
Yeah.
what he thought was the best decision for his game. It's like I don't know Derek, I don't know Avery. I don't know this person, but I got Josh coming to me. I got Kylan coming to me. I got Casey coming to me saying that they might want to work with me if I save them. So, like, why? Like, like it's just.
right. And to the same point, you are still willing to put your relationship with Derek above whatever you think we might have. I can't be any higher than 2 because you're willing to let me go. We all know that a stalemate could mean that we're going in.
Mm-hmm.
So like you would be willing to let me go over this one. So that's even more reason like not to let it go. That was my chance to get him out. Like
Yeah. It's like, okay, so
we
I
both
go with.
made this decision.
Right. And it's like, okay,
Um,
so I go with what my whole team is telling me. I just do what whatever Avery wants. And then what? Am I just at the bottom of my era?
mhm.
The second you can cut me, you'll cut me? Like,
Right. You both had the right to make this decision. And
yeah.
if that's the decision you want to make, that's fine. But it's not no one person is any more wrong than the other. Y'all both made it together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, I just. I don't know. I just felt like this was a very unfair edit to Tony. That's all. And I
Yeah.
felt like a lot of people were giving him shit for this. But at the end of the day, like people were calling him selfish and this and that. But at the end of the day, we've seen every single one of these people make selfish decisions because they thought it might have been the best decision for their game in that moment. And that's all that Tony did here. So,
And that's what you have to do, though. I mean,
yeah.
That's the
that's what the
game.
game
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
You don't make a selfish decision like, am I playing the game for me? Am I playing the game for you? No, I'm not going to make you draw 2. I'd rather you win.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Um, So another question here about the
Mhm.
chamber, right? Because one of the
Okay.
things we saw early on in this episode, we saw Darrell talking with Aviv, right? Because the last time Darrell won was with Aviv. Uh,
Mhm.
what was the season? Kyle, you know this.
Fresh meat.
Fresh meat, yes.
You knew that so fast.
And so they won together. This was Aviv's one and only season. She was a champion with Darrell, and they were talking early on in this episode about how they would want to work together, have each other's backs, and then we get to the chamber. And Darrell knows, just like Tony trying to make the best decision for his game, Darrell knows, listen, I love you, Aviv, but I'd rather go against you and Derek than Kylan and Casey. Any thoughts on this? Because Aviv felt very blindsided, was very pissed about Darrell kind of throwing her name out there. Were you surprised at all?
I was surprised for a second watching it, but when you really think about it, Aviv has not played this game since then. And it's like,
How
I
long
mean,
ago was that?
was it season 12 or
It's a long
14?
Oh
time ago.
shit. Okay.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, because she's in era 2. You know, I mean, it was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
long time ago. Um, I, I, there are people that are a little bit more relevant than you. Like if you're talking about like this is no longer they were working together then. You were a good teammate and that works. What does the game look like now in season 40 when there's all these other new people that are definitely more connected than you are?
I was gonna say, were the politics at that point even the same, like operating the same as they are now?
No, and not back then.
No,
Definitely
because
not.
that's never been Darrell's game. Um,
It's
so
never been Darrell's game, and back then, like when he was really, really like when he won and like was doing really, really well, that wasn't
really anybody's.
that wasn't so yeah that wasn't really an aspect of it.
Yeah.
Everyone it was so based on honor. Like you lost, you go in. Like that's it. Good luck.
Yeah,
Um, the social element didn't come till much later, so
yeah,
he doesn't really owe her anything. It's a completely different game now.
yeah.
Um, I give Darrell credit for being that transparent. Like just the way that that man just does not care. It's like, yeah, I'd rather go against you. Sorry, girl. Like you do have to put some credit to him for that. Like I do like that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love Darrell. I really do.
always love Darrell.
Um, Now we also had in this episode a toga party. Everybody was dressed up. I enjoyed Kara's outfit
I
the
was
best.
living for Kara's outfit.
Yeah. But really, I think the main thing to come out of this toga party was just that everybody seems to be really horny, huh?
Oh my god.
Right?
Messy, messy, messy,
Like
messy.
we got.
But wouldn't you be? Look at this group of people.
I mean, they're all
Yeah,
very
everyone
hot.
is very
Yeah,
hot, yes.
they're
right.
very
Like, I mean,
hot.
come on.
They're very hot. But we
Anyone would
got
have enough, though.
we we got who was it? Devin and Michelle hooking up, Olivia and Theo, Naya and Kyland, and Josh.
Get
Yes.
Naya.
Yeah. Now,
Mess.
and we had some drama coming from the Naya.
Right, I forgot about this.
Yeah, the Naya Kylan
Oh, I
Josh
couldn't wait to talk about this.
love triangle, and Josh felt disrespected not so much by Naya kind of doing her own thing and having her fun, but by everybody else sort of laughing, and Josh felt like he was being clowned on about this whole thing. It led to an altercation between him and Tori where Josh flat out told her, "We're not friends anymore," which Tori was obviously very upset about. Any thoughts about all these showmances and the horniness and like maybe how could this affect the season going forward here? Anything? Any thoughts? Maybe not affect the season, but just any thoughts on the horniness?
I mean, I right off the bat thought it was so interesting that, like, while this is all going on, we get that one confessional from Naya where she's like, I am going to make these two boys fall in love with me, and that is going to insulate me in the game, and that's just what I'm doing. Sorry about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
work! I also did get a very big giggle out of, like, while Josh and Tori are having this fight, you just got Michelle in the middle with her cup of noodles. Just like,
oh yeah, just eating her ramen.
it's like, that's me. Me.
Well, let's see here. Naya, this is what she said she was going to do. Right? She said she was into politicking. This is how she wanted to play, and she's playing it. Good for her, right? For the first time ever, I'm Team Tory here. Okay, because
Wow.
Josh is really being a baby here because, you know, I've always felt this about Josh, but even more so watching this, it's like you are one of those people who, if the tables were turned, you would expect everyone to understand that you're just kidding, we're just being friends, and blah 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 blah. But the second it comes back to you, it's completely unacceptable, and the friendship is canceled. And it's like you're just so very exhausting. Like,
Yeah, I will say I really like. I was a little bit like, give me a break, man. When Josh is being like, I've always been a better friend to you than you've been to me, and I'm like, all right, you are a grown man.
Well, that's what I was
Like,
gonna say.
calm
Like,
down.
do you think that the whole vote in from their previous season did play any part in this, or do you think that it was just like
I
the
think
situation with
Josh.
Kevin?
I think Josh thinks it played a big part in it. I mean,
Well,
I
that's what I'm
just,
saying. Like, did that
mm,
actually play a part in like what was upsetting him and why there's a rift between them, or was that just like
absolutely. I think Josh is very upset about that vote, and will never get over it.
because I almost felt like when we were watching that season, in the moment, it didn't seem like he was that pressed about it. It was just kind of like, I understand, like, that's what you have to do, like, whatever. I don't remember him being upset about it, unless I'm remembering it wrong. Like, I remember, and they even showed it, like, in the clip for it or whatever, that Bananas was like, why would you vote him in? That doesn't make any sense either. But, like, I feel like Josh wasn't that pressed about that, unless I'm just misremembering.
no, I until they showed the clip of it, I was like, I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I didn't remember this like as a thing at all.
Mm.
I do also, not to be completely cynical, but I do see the value in creating drama with a Tory, because Tory will, without a doubt, be on future seasons. And if you have a storyline with Tory, you'll be back.
Very fair. Very fair.
I'm not saying that's the angle that it was, but like it just felt like I was like, "What are you guys even talking about?" And they showed the clip, and I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "I guess I do remember that," but that didn't. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't resonate with me as like a major moment. To your
Mm.
point, and it's
They're
like I.
it's like they're setting Tori and Josh up for a future like rivals
Mm-hmm.
season
Mm-hmm.
where they get paired up together.
Yeah, or like just oh, let's see what happens now, because like yeah, it's just I don't know. It's kind
Yeah.
of weird. It's weird.
Um, but all right, yeah. Uh, so this pretty much takes us to the arena, um, where we knew we had Darrell and Jody going in. TJ brings everybody out, asks Tony and Avery, "Who are you sending down to face Darrell and Jody in the sand?" And because they couldn't come to an agreement, TJ said, "All right, well then you guys come down to the sand." And he added, "Don't fuck with me." That's what TJ said. So this meant that you can't make your decision on your own. I'll make the decision for you. Come on down, Tony and Avery. You're going to be the ones to go into elimination. And they played a game called One Step at a Time. There was some confusion, questioning around would this be like a double elimination, like a team elimination, like the pairs go against each other, or would this be an individual thing? We found out very early that it would be an individual thing. The guys would go against the guys, the girls would go against the girls. And basically, the game was the players start on this box, and they have to race as fast as they can to uncover directions that would explain to them the order that they would have to place these colored tiles in.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if they made one mistake in this, they had to go right back to the beginning.
Horrible.
Yeah, they could only move one tile at a time. They had to follow all the instructions without making any mistakes. Um, so the men went first. So we had Darrell and Tony going head to head, and Tony just, I don't think he was ever in this.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Not at all.
Uh, and even though his team was pissed at him, there were people from Era 3, like Jordan, yelling out to try to help him, and he just could not get this game down. Darrell dominated this. I mean, his whole path was done, and Tony was still right at the beginning.
Yeah. Tough watch.
So I'm honestly sad to see Tony go. I feel like he always goes out too early, and I'd like to see him get further. I mean, he has made one final, right?
I guess.
I think he made one.
I am so embarrassed.
Embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
I'm very glad Darrell's not gone though.
I'm glad that Darrell is not gone, but I'm just so embarrassed by Tony. He let me down in All Stars. He really let me down here, and I just have been such a vocal supporter. I've been celebrating his grand return to the challenge, and it has been more lackluster than Julie Chen Moonves's outfits. This
Wow.
really has not been
Julie
very
catching
good.
strays on challenge night. Shit.
You
I
will
think
never
it's
see Kyle Petty reigns again.
wow. It's
I
rough
am
too because like
disgusted.
the episode actually started out pretty positive for Tony. Like he had just won an elimination, came back in, and we got a DR. I said a DR, a diary room, a
They're
confessional
DRs.
from Tony, a confessional from Tony, saying like, "I'm so happy to be back in this house," and I'm like, "Oh, this episode is starting so good for Tony," and it's like, no,
Nightmare.
you probably just should have done what what Avery wanted in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, I'd still be down to see Tony again, but I think it just caught up with him. But we had the women
I'll be
still.
happy to see him, but I won't.
Yeah,
I'm not a super fan anymore. I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah.
I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Clocking out.
So Darrell sends Tony home, and then we still had the matchup between the women, which was Avery and Jody, and this was a good one. This was actually an exciting matchup here. They both started out pretty well, but ended up having troubles. Like obviously this whole puzzle they had to do. It was a strenuous physical task, but it was also, a puzzle. And so you had to figure out the right sequence to put these colors in and all that. And both of them at one point, both Avery and Jody ran out of colors that they needed to use. So they had to go back to the drawing board. Jody had jumped out to a lead at one point, and then when they both had to start over, she didn't seem to be able to recover. Avery eventually pulled away, and she pulled out the win. So Avery stays, and I'm happy for Avery. I am. I really am.
I'm happy for Avery too.
Yeah.
But again, this is just there was no good end.
Yeah.
You wanted to see Avery stay because she stuck to her guns, and we'd love to see that. And I wanted to see Jody stay because we haven't seen her in so long, and it's just awesome to see her back. Like every one of these exits are gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, to your point though, I feel like that's just what this season is gonna be. Like
Right.
there's no one that we're gonna be like, fine.
Yep. Every night is gonna be like, okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see more of what happens with Avery. And, the editors they're no fools. I think it is interesting. You kind of clocked something before when you had mentioned how it's not like Derek said, hey, don't do this. I wonder if there's going to be a time where Derek has an opportunity to repay this and he does not.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I came here to win. Like, I wonder if this is the foundation for that, just has me excited, like looking forward to the road ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lost 2 players tonight. We lost Tony and we lost Jody. Honestly, Gina, this was an easy night for you.
Good, it let you guys catch up to me.
Yeah, because Gina did not lose anyone.
I had a rough premiere. Let me live.
Anyone. She lost three players during the Era Invitational. But then,
she was still catching her breath.
Yeah. Tonight, the women's elimination featured 2 of my team players, Avery and Jody. Avery taking Jody out, and then the men's was 2 of Kyle's picks, Darrell and Tony, with Darrell taking the win. So easy night for Gina. Although I will say I had an easy night in Big Brother because none of my draft picks on Big Brother were up for eviction. So, so that's where we stand. Each of us has lost 3 players across the board, but 10 players have left because, of course, the unwanted Katie Cooley was also eliminated. So hey, listen, we're 3 episodes in. We started with 40. We're down to 30. I'm okay with this pace.
I'm totally fine with that. Yeah,
I'm sure it's not going to keep up. I'm sure it's going to slow down.
I hope it does.
But listen, we're 25% of the players we started with are gone. 3 episodes in.
I love it.
That's
So,
fine.
cool.
Perfect. Excellent.
So
Like, bye.
I want to now talk about the next twist that we got after this elimination, right?
Mm.
Because we found out that it looks like from now on there will be no people volunteering to be the representatives or captains of their teams going
Right,
into
right.
daily challenges.
Mm-mm.
Those people, those people are going to be named ahead of time, not as representatives but as targets.
Ooh.
So here's what TJ told us: moving forward, if you compete in an elimination and win, you get to choose targets, a male and a female from each era, who must win the next challenge. If they don't, they have a chance of going into the arena. So the losing team targets go straight into elimination. The winning team targets go into the chamber. Darrell here selected all the female targets, and Avery selected all the male targets, which I also love.
Mm-hmm.
So what we got was Derek and Anissa were chosen from Era 1 as the next targets. Bananas and Laurel were chosen from Era 2.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Jordan and Naya were chosen from Era 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Horacio and Jenny were chosen from Era 4.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the people from each era that will be what we saw in this episode as the representatives. Instead, they'll be targets. They didn't have any. Actually, though, I will say I think Jordan did volunteer for this. Jordan actually did raise his hand because Jordan is just such a badass. But that's where we're at. These people will all go in. They will be responsible for how well their team does in a way. And if their team does well, they might be rewarded for it. They might be safe. If their team does not do well, they might be going straight to elimination, and they had no say in it whatsoever. I love how they're doing this season right now.
Yeah.
I love how they're doing this season, and I think that Darrell erred in the way that he delivered all of this. You could have changed the entire energy, being like, I am choosing the best of each era because I trust you, and I trust you if you win that you're not going to fuck me over. And that's why I want you to be in charge of what goes on in the chamber. You had a very unique opportunity to spin this into a positive, and instead you went into it like, ugh. So all of those people feel badly now about what you did, and instead you could have empowered them.
That's so fair. Yeah.
And I think this goes back a little bit to what we were saying earlier about Darrell just not being good at this type of game,
Not
this
at all.
politic
Not at all.
Sort of game. He's still, even though he's played modern seasons, he is still caught on that I have to do everything by honor. So when he gets put in a position where he has some pressure on him, like you have to now name people that might be in danger next time, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to respond.
Right. It's like, yes, it's a risk, but you know what? I am Darrell from Era 1. Everyone would love a vote of confidence from Darrell. You were in such a unique position to turn this into something so amazing. Like, I chose you because I believe in you and I trust you. I chose you for this. You could have made this like this was so good, and we're now going into
I didn't even think about that, honestly. Yeah.
the challenge of champions, and instead you turned it into like this death march, and now everyone can't wait to put you in now. Ugh.
Anissa is pissed.
Fired up. And that's who I first thought of. Was like, you could have totally spun this differently, and she would have walked away with like, okay,
right.
I don't like that you put me at risk, but you kick this whole thing off by saying such good things about me. Okay, all right. Yeah. Even if I'm pissed, I'm not going to would I make a scene? Definitely. Right. How could I make a scene against you when you so publicly said such good things about me? I have to be quiet. I have to play nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
We missed it.
Oh, man.
And even to Kyler's point, like Bananas and Laurel, you could have made that like that was such an amazing thing. You guys are two of the best. Like, why would I think that you'd even be in danger?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course you're fine. Like, why wouldn't I pick you?
Right.
Just miss out, Journey. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
So coming up, there's a few things I'm excited about, a few things I'm scared about.
What's that?
Well, next episode it looks like we're getting trivia. Very excited about trivia. I know Kyle's favorite game is trivia. He always looks forward to TJ asking questions and laughing and having a great time with the house guests. So I know Kyle is very excited about this coming Wednesday and getting to watch trivia with TJ on the challenge. Right, Kyle?
I actually don't think I can do next week.
Oh, really?
Wow, yeah,
Wow.
like something has just
Interesting.
come up.
We
I'm
will make
actually
sure that we reschedule to a time that is convenient with your schedule.
no, I think my internet's going out. I think it's already happening now.
Well, that's all right. You can come to my house
Stupid
and
idiot.
we'll share my internet.
Uh,
Oh my
silly.
god.
I didn't even watch the next one. I don't think my DVR
Yeah.
taped it.
Oh wow.
I don't think it was an option.
Well, I'm looking forward to trivia.
Right.
Something I'm not looking forward to is it looks like CT might be injured in this.
Oh, is this the one where he was being taken out on a stretcher? I did see that on a trailer or something.
And it looks like it might be one of my draft picks' fault because Derek is like, did I just take out the best player in our era? So I'm very curious to see how this actually happens. But it looks like CT. I don't think he's going to go out this way. We're talking about CT. He's a machine, but he falls into the water. People are talking. He says something about his back. People are talking about how CT looks hurt. I'm hoping it just looks more dramatic for the next on, and it's not that big of a deal. But I am nervous about CT. He's not even on my team. He's on Gina's team because she's a jerk and she stole him from me. But
I got him fair and square.
No,
How
you
dare
did.
you yell
You
at me
did.
like this
You did.
in our house?
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm very nervous about that. I would be so fucking pissed if CT left on an injury in season 40. So I hope
actually knew that I was not going to pick him because I saw the stretcher thing and I said, I don't know what that means.
Wow. See, I was gonna pick him anyway because I love CT so much.
I didn't even know about the stretcher thing until this moment. So
I think I'm the only one that actually watched that preseason special.
No, I did.
No, I watched
did.
it. I just didn't see that.
Oh, I did, and I was like, oop, I'm not taking him.
Yeah. Well,
I hope not, though.
We'll see what happens, I guess. All right. I think that's all I got for the Challenge 40 this week. Anybody else got anything? Any thoughts? Any questions, comments, concerns?
No, other than like I'm excited about this season. I'm energized. I like that we're losing 2 a week. That feels like a good pace to me. The twists have been fun. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah,
this is going to be a good one.
I also feel like a couple of points that I'll bring up here at the end is there was something that I liked. I think it was Rachel that said like this feels like an old school challenge season when they were doing the toga party, and they cut to years ago when a challenge house was having their own toga party and how crazy it was, and then they cut to CT talking about how like it feels like in between these challenges and the eliminations and all the serious stuff, people are actually having fun, and it feels like that's been missing the last few seasons. And I feel like we could all probably agree with that. It hasn't had the same sort of vibe or feel, and I feel like so far this season has had that.
Yeah.
I also love all of CT's pro tips. Those are very fun.
I'm amazed this is the first time you're bringing that up. Yeah. I feel like you would have been all over that.
There's a lot of fun things about this this season that give me hope for the future direction of the challenge, when it feels like for a couple of years now it's just been very stale and stagnant and has felt like every season takes forever, and it's almost like, all right,
it's felt colder.
Yeah, it's like I can get excited when a new season is starting, but then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I'm not enjoying this. Like, there's something off. Like, and I feel like they may have captured that magic back again in this season. Maybe
it's starting to feel like that's possible. What was always interesting to me with the challenge is that even when people were getting burned, and you saw a lot of really good gameplay, there was still a certain warmth that kind of came from the show, and you saw that from the way that they all partied with each other, even though you knew they had this game history, and the way that they joke with each other and things like that. That's all like been gone. I
Yeah.
feel like for like a while. It just hasn't been the same. Um, this feels nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when you think like spies, lies, and allies, like what was that?
That
Like
was my first season.
yeah, that whole agents era, like spies, lies, and allies, double agents, and what was the other one? Rider dies.
Rider dies.
Right,
Yeah.
Rider
guys.
dies. That whole era was very strange to me. Um, it felt like it sat outside of like challenge canon. Like we
Yeah.
watched it and but it didn't feel like proper challenge.
Right. And even though like, there were people in those seasons like CT involved, and he even
Yeah,
won.
but
He even won one of those seasons, but it
Mhm.
didn't feel like the real challenge to me. There was
no,
something.
like when we watch All Stars, I think we kind of talked about this like a few months ago. Like watching All Stars, like, oh, this feels good. Like this
Yeah.
feels like back to the challenge. Like this, I feel like is a nice blend of both. Like I feel like there's an intensity to it, and the competitions are definitely more intense already, um,
Yeah.
which is really really cool to see. Which does feel of this newer era,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Do
the
you do
warmth
you
is back.
do you think that period of time, like they were trying to introduce too many new players, but players that had already been on reality TV shows that like didn't really get the challenge, like they were trying to still play their own games, like Big Brother or Survivor, like they were still trying to play those games, but on the challenge, and there were too many of them and not enough challenge veterans. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe what I really think it was, I think that contributed to it. Honestly, I think they were trying too hard to make the challenge. They kept advertising it as like America's fifth sport. Stop trying to make it something it isn't.
yeah,
Like we joke about it, but like the challenge was really born of field day style games. It was because we liked the people, we liked they were fun characters, they gave us good storyline, and we got to see them play these games. And eliminations got a little scrappy. That's all the challenge ever was. And then you tried to make it a little bit something more. And I feel like it's because the challenge was on MTV. Once MTV became part of Viacom, not don't make me. I'm not trying to be a big conspiratist or whatever you want to call it, but it's like
Conspirator.
yes, but you've got like Big Brother, Survivor, and the challenge, and you try to make each one its own separate thing. So you tried to make the challenge a big athletes show, and it's like, but that's not why we watched. I don't need to see like my favorite people being flung in the air. Um, I
yeah,
want to see toga parties.
yeah,
I just want them yelling at each other, throwing a drink in each other's face, and then I do want to see them then get silly and have to put one leg each in a potato sack and run down the thing. Like that's
yeah.
hysterical to me. Like you were just screaming at each other, and now all of a sudden, like you're hopping down, like tied together, or like in a sack. I'm like that. This is great
It's
television,
gonna be a goofy good
Yeah,
time.
like
right?
these
It's
people,
so
they're
dumb.
they're great athletes. They are. They really are great athletes. We saw in Champs versus Stars are these challenge players beating professional athletes and Olympians. Like
And
they're
Olympians,
clearly,
right?
yeah, clearly good athletes. But this is the challenge. We still need to have the hookups and the fun, silly
Right.
games that are also athletic. They need to have some kind of fun element to it.
Yes.
Um, we want to see the parties. We want to see the messiness. Like that's like this is a reality show. This isn't like
Mhm.
NBC like showing like the Olympic qualifiers. like
Right.
like
And
yeah,
that's
like
not why we tuned in. That's why we got our entire cast from the real world and road rules. Like we didn't tune in. Wasn't ever supposed to be Olympians. Like what are you talking about? This was supposed to be silly goofy.
Hmm.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I
So
feel
no,
like
this
maybe we're
season is a
getting
good
back to that.
mix.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good mix of both. And it's awesome because now you definitely get amped in a different way for certain eliminations. I will give the newer seasons that. Like there's certain showdowns like when you see Casey down in the sand, like you're about to get a show. And like that's really exciting. Um but this could be a good mix of both of that.
yeah,
Both worlds. Yeah.
totally. All right. Well, I think I'm all done for the challenge 40. You guys?
I think so too.
Yeah. I thought we were done until you started this.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't even remember how this started. But anyway, let's get let's get out of here. Right? What do we have going on coming up? next Monday we'll be talking about Claim to Fame, the finale.
Whoa!
Oh, it's Labor Day. It's Labor Day. Yeah.
I mean, I'm likely available. I mean, I'm trying to be available. I'm not trying to be out. I have work in the morning.
I'm available. Yeah.
I'm off from work on Monday. I'm working the next day. I mean, who really? It's not July 4th. It's Labor Day. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't really mind, but we can certainly discuss it.
I'm down.
Yeah,
There's
we can
socials.
We can confirm, offline.
Which just no spoilers, obviously. But have either of you watched it yet?
No,
I have not watched it, but I did see something on social media about who wins, and
gotcha.
But
no, I have not been spoiled at all because
I watched it this morning.
I have no phone.
Kyler's available. Kyler, if you want to come talk about Claim to Fame, let us know. All right, so hopefully, maybe Claim to Fame Monday. We'll be wrapping that up, right? Because the last 2 episodes should have come out, which means the finale should have come out.
Right.
And then I guess next Thursday we'll be back for the latest week of Big Brother 26 and the latest episode of Challenge 40. Does that sound good?
Yeah, BB 26 at 9:20 and the Challenge 40 at 10:30.
Yes, I will.
10 minutes for Big Brother.
Yeah.
Never. Can you imagine?
Right. I've been terrible, by the way, for a while about making graphics for our weekly schedule. I'm going to try to rectify that this weekend.
Yeah, there was somebody on our Instagram that very shadily liked it recently. Did you notice that? And I was like, ooh, you tried it. We know we haven't updated since March. We see you. We see you.
That's my fault.
I laughed, though. I was like, I know. I was like, we know. We said we're going to update it.
So sorry.
No, I feel like I've said for like 3 weeks that I was going to update it, and I still haven't. So that is my fault. Yeah, that is not Gina or Kyle's fault. That is solely my fault. I will update the schedule this week. I promise. God, I hope I remember to do it now. I promise. But yeah, so Claim to Fame Monday, Big Brother and Challenge Thursday. That's what we got going on next week. Come hang out. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod, not on Blue Sky. Maybe we'll be there sometime. Who knows? All right, goodbye.
We have to leave X.
Now I can hear you.
Too loud.
I can hear you. I can hear you now. Let's get out of here.
We're still here?